Very nice touch indeed. It was a fine sight to see so many youngsters arriving at Tynecastle this afternoon. The usual welcome song for the Hearts team over the last few weeks, that's become very familiar indeed. And the sun shining down on this magnificent occasion. So the Hearts team warming up, waiting for the arrival of Aberdeen, and the Hearts line-up is exactly as anticipated. But here comes Aberdeen, led of course by Willie Miller. Tall figure of Brian Gunn, the young goalkeeper, following him out. So Miller coming out to a cauldron once again, as he has done so many times in the past. But this time Aberdeen obviously playing more for pride than anything else. So the teams have been selected. The Hearts team, as I said, has no surprise at all. Walter Kidd, the captain, is out through suspension, sadly for him. But the rest of the team is exactly as anticipated, and they have Colin McAdam and Ian Jordan on the bench. Aberdeen, though, have had lots of problems with their lineup. They have no Leighton, no Simpson, Cooper, Angus, McDougall, and Eric Black has been relegated to the substitutes bench. So there's the lineup with John McMaster playing in midfield. He'll wear number 4, and I fancy that we may well have Brian Mitchell playing at right back with Stuart McKimmie in at midfield. And that name Hunter, of course, should be John Hewitt, who will be the principal striker alongside Joe Miller in the Aberdeen side. And Aberdeen on the bench have Eric Black, as I said, and they also have young Ian Robertson, who made his debut on Wednesday night against Dundee United at Pittodrie. So Aberdeen sadly depleted. Alec MacDonald waiting there for the start of the match in the dugout. Clearly another occasion for him to savour. And the referee arriving is Mr. Bob Valentine from Dundee, who perhaps was a shade disappointed he didn't make that World Cup spot following the resignation of Brian McGinley. But he's just back from Bahrain, where he refereed the Arabian Gulf Cup for 3 weeks, hence the suntan this afternoon. And he's joined by his linesmen, Mr. William Lindsay and Mr. David Gray. So there is the setting. The crowd populated behind the far side goal. That's where the Hearts supporters get together, and they're packed in big numbers around that faraway goal. So certainly no depletion of the Hearts turnout this afternoon, as the captain for the day, Craig Levine, goes forward, replacing, of course, Walter Kidd, the unfortunate captain who is out through suspension. So a big occasion for the two young mascots. And the coin, in fact, will be tossed by the male member of the pairing. And the teams are going to turn around. I'm joined now by Billy McNeil, who's made it up from the track. Billy, great atmosphere.
I think that's a very important facet, Jock, in that, but I'm not all that sure I'm keen on Sunday football, but the crowd here is very, very responsive and obviously very excitable. So they set up nice atmosphere for the game.
So Alec Ferguson in the director's box beside the Aberdeen chairman, who is Dick Donald, and his son Ian Donald, also director, sitting beside him. Some of the Aberdeen reserves behind them. So the welcome you hear is for Brian Gunn going to the goal, surrounded by Hearts supporters. So it will be Hearts to start the match. Referee Valentine sorting out everything. In fact, Willie Miller has corrected the Hearts strikers, who are so keen to get on with things. It's an Aberdeen kick-off. Quite a fierce breeze blowing across Tynecastle this afternoon. We may see the effect of that as the game gets underway. So number 9 there is Joe Miller, John Hewitt beside him, and the match gets underway. A tremendous roar from the Hearts supporters. There's Brian Mitchell taking up that expected role at right back. Tim Beck operating on the right side of midfield. Here's Joe Miller. Beck to Mitchell. McMaster's pass. Miller and Hewitt going for the same ball. There's McMaster. That was well struck. It was Neil Berry who blocked it twice. And George Cowie escorting the ball away. Playing it to safety. But some good passing there among the Aberdeen players in the build-up. George Cowie replacing Walter Kidd, stepping in with the clearance. So the throw on the far side will be taken by Tommy McQueen. Peter Weir. The cross towards Miller. And that must have been only inches away. Joe Miller going in on that cross from Weir, and that could so easily have been the opening goal. Weir turning well away from Cowie to get in a fine cross. Miller attacking the ball, got to it first, but it just goes wide. A very impressive start for Joe Miller, showing his sharpness inside the penalty area. Here's Hewitt. Back now with Mitchell. Hewitt taken out of the play by Whittaker. Looked perhaps a shade more dramatic than it actually was, but referee Valentine has a word with the Hearts fullback. The free kick will be taken by Aberdeen whenever the referee is satisfied with the positioning. Willie Miller joining Jim Bett over the ball. Looped in there by Miller towards Alec McLeish. And it came off the head of McLeish to go for the Hearts goal kick. So the Aberdeen side settling down to a midfield with Bett on the right, McMaster in the middle, and McKimmie on the left side of the middle pairing, with Peter Weir operating in his usual position on the left flank. Headed on by Berry. McKimmie taking no chances with the long ball back to Brian Gunn. Well taken down by Joe Miller. McMaster finding McQueen. John Cahoon quickly to the Aberdeen fullback, forcing him to play it backwards. Alec McLeish with Willie Miller, of course. Key men in the heart of that Aberdeen defence, and of course in the Scotland defence for the internationals to come. Bett did well, beating Kenny Black in the jump. Jarden hustled by Joe Miller. Turned away by Whittaker, and the first corner kick of the match goes to Aberdeen. And a signal for Alec McLeish and Willie Miller to sprint from the centre circle to get right into the Hearts penalty area. The corner kick taken by Hewitt. McMaster waiting for the ball to drop. Now Weir. Neil Berry kept his eye on the ball to make the tackle. Weir once again trying to make room for the cross. And the referee has given a free kick to Aberdeen. A bit of obstruction by Cowie. Well, that's just about as good as the corner kick, which I think Peter Weir was hoping to get. So Aberdeen taking the initiative in the opening minutes. Weir's cross, there goes Hewitt! Well, that couldn't have been closer. And John Hewitt wasn't picked up. That's certainly a moment of alarm for the Hearts defence. There's the outswinging cross from Peter Weir. Hewitt making a run to near post area, lost his marker. Smith was hopelessly beaten, and the ball eludes that far post. So John Hewitt making his mark too early in the match, but still no scoring. The Hearts now trying to get forward. There's Miller. And Mitchell. Bett looking for help inside. John Robertson to Mackay. Here's Cahoon. McMaster's challenge. The combined efforts of McMaster and Bett bringing about the free kick to Hearts. So you hear the build-up of noise now as Hearts assert themselves as an attacking force for just about the first time in the match. Mackay. Sandy Clark. Mackay again. Couldn't get the cross in, but a bit more adventure there from Hearts as Gary Mackay broke into the box. But a very entertaining opening 5 minutes, Billy.
Well, I think it's a 5 minutes, Jock, that Hearts will be glad to see over. They started and looked very, very apprehensive and a bit nervous. Perhaps the occasion is getting to some of the players. Obviously, they've got to settle quickly. A shot or two at goals now, a little bit of work in the Aberdeen half might do them the world of good. But at the moment, they look very, very tense and very nervous.
So Hearts skipper Craig Levine. Clark, a very powerful player, but he's matched there by Brian Mitchell for Aberdeen. McMaster. Superb tackle there from Craig Levine. Master again. Jordan looking for Clark. Mackay took his eye off the ball. McMaster to Bet. Bet waving Miller ahead of him. Just a moment of uncertainty in his mind, I think, Jim Bet. And Clark is offside. A free kick to Aberdeen. The referee waving Brian Mitchell a few yards back. Good touch on from Miller. McMaster beating Mackay in the jump. Plenty of time for Henry Smith. Preferring the long ball upfield to put the pressure on the Aberdeen defence straight away. Free shot with Clark. Clark does well with a header. And that was a brilliant back pass from Willie Miller. Under intense pressure, he enjoyed the moment all right. The smile tells the story. Brilliantly played back to Gunn, taking heat out of that Hearts attack. And Sandy Jordan doing likewise at the other end. Clark's header, here's Cahoon. He's had a quiet start to the match, Cahoon, with Hearts so much on the defensive in these opening stages. It's all Hearts throw on the far side. George Cowie. The tackle from McLeish, staying very close indeed to Sandy Clark. Interception was by McKimmie. Weir wins the throw for Aberdeen. So the Hearts midfield players trying to take a grip on the match. Berry, Mackay, Kenny Black. Miller to McQueen. Miller get the touch inside towards McKimmie. A difficult spinning ball to control. And McLeish barging into Clark from the back. Sandy Clark really is a very difficult opponent for these high balls. So strong to stand there and make life difficult for central defenders. So Aberdeen lining up a three-man wall. John Robertson with a free kick. Referee Valentine is not happy that the wall is less than 10 yards back. So John Robertson going to use the breeze perhaps. Well, very firmly struck. Wide of the wall and wide of Gunn's right-hand post. And a very sweet strike of the ball again from John Robertson. You see it here from behind the goal. Wide of the wall and wide of Gunn's post. Whittaker's header. Mitchell was nudged by Clark as he went for the bouncing ball. Clark back to Whittaker. Clark's now getting players forward from midfield. Sandy Clark, Scary Mackay rather, going on the outside of Whittaker. Mitchell looking for Miller, but Hearts have the ball again. The referee Valentine right on the scene gives a throw to Hearts. Not impressed by appeals for a free kick. Here's Cahoon. Whittaker playing the ball against Bet. Clark shielding the ball from McQueen. Sandy Clark again. Superb goalkeeping. And some great striking there from Sandy Clark. Now this is down initially to strength on the part of Sandy Clark, screening the ball, holding off his marker, then the skill in the turn, the first time shot, and down goes Gunn.
Lovely piece of skill, Jock. That's exactly what Hearts need at the moment. They look to have settled just a bit better now, probably got over. The first few moments are always difficult. A big crowd like this, first league match on television, it takes a little bit of a toll, but they seem to have settled an awful lot better now.
Good running by Mackay. Robertson to Clark. Miller in the way. Misunderstanding there between McMaster and McKimmie, and a hand was used by Berry. The Hearts fans very unhappy indeed, but referee Valentine again very close to the action, the referee, to penalise Neil Berry. McLeish's free kick. Ravine getting the better of Hewitt in the air. McKimmie going for the return pass. Good tackle from Mackay. And Jordan measuring the pass back away from Joe Miller. Weir. Just a bit too light the pass towards Hewitt. Sandy Jordan getting there ahead of Weir. Well, the safe course from Sandy Jordan. McKimmie taking the break of the ball. And the ricochet back off McKimmie for the goal kick. Neil Berry doing his usual accomplished role, back defending, and a goal kick to Hearts. So there's the record between Hearts and Aberdeen in the Premier Division, and you'll see that Hearts 5 wins, had 2 this season. So that's a big balance in favour of Aberdeen, but Hearts doing all they can this season to change it. Cowie lofting it towards Clark, a good header by McLeish. Cahoon. Good defending by Miller. We are trying to exploit the pace of John Hewitt, but Jordan provides depth to the Hearts defence. McLeish again winning the high ball from Clark. McLeish doing well going forward, trying a layoff towards Hewitt. It's picked up by Levine. Now Cahoon. Sandy Clark had to come back to stay onside. Mitchell's header. Berry to Mackay. Bet did well to play it back for Mitchell. Good pass again from Mitchell. Bet has space. Joe Miller coming up on his outside. Phil Bet driving at the Hearts defence. There's McKimmie. Well, he didn't catch it cleanly, Stuart McKimmie. Brian Mitchell certainly did well, setting up the move with a pass in the first place to Bet. Mitchell once again. Miller. Joe Miller. Nipped away from him by Whittaker. Joe Miller once again. It's a fine pass to McQueen on the left. He has Weir on his outside, Hewitt ahead of him. McQueen takes the return from Weir. Bet challenging, but Kenny Black was there first. But another good move from Aberdeen on the left flank, with Weir and McQueen combining to very good effect. So Aberdeen certainly trying very hard, despite the fact their championship chance is gone. They haven't lost 3 matches in a row since 1978, and clearly They're anxious to avoid that. They've had 2 defeats from Celtic and Dundee United in the last week, or 8 days to be exact. Here's Weir's corner. Headed away by Sandy Clark, helping in defence. McMaster. Cowie turning quickly with Weir, but still forced to concede the throw. Hewitt turning inside Jordan. And the Hearts sweeper recovers very quickly. The clearance is won though by McMaster. All a bit untidy around the Hearts box for the moment. And the clearance falls straight to Willie Miller. So all the players now inside the Hearts half except Alec McLeish. That came off Cahoon for an Aberdeen throw once again. So the Premier League before now, Hearts' best record in the Premier Division, 36 points. Well, what an improvement this season is. Aberdeen, of course, with that record of 59 last season. But Hearts certainly making new records this season in all respects. McQueen now with the throw. Here's Joe Miller. Peter Weir taking on Cowie. Touch on from Miller. And Kenny Black showing a lot of composure there inside his own box. And a lot of confidence shown in his goalkeeper, Henry Smith. Well, that certainly has not been misplaced this season. Mitchell bundling into John Robertson from the back, and that's the kind of tackle, I think, Billy, which you don't see much of in England.
No, you certainly don't, Jock. You don't see very many tackles at all, to be quite frank with you. An interesting aspect about the game, Aberdeen are so composed and so calm in the build-up. It's almost as if the shackles of winning the league has been released from them, and they're playing nice, calm football. And Hearts, obviously, the excitement of winning it is still with them.
McLeish once again getting the better of Sandy Clark for a high ball through the middle. Kimmy racing forward to challenge Cowie, and a free kick's been given against George Cowie for lifting his boot too high. Dangerous play. There's George Cowie, penalised. The right arm raised aloft by referee Valentine, indicating the indirect free kick. McMaster. Now Berry. Bett getting back. So Jim Bett and Kenny Black constantly together on this side of the field in midfield. Now Whittaker. Mitchell's header. Mackay to John Robertson. That's a great ball back to Kenny Black. Just a shade too strong, the pass from Robertson. Kenny Black couldn't keep it in. But a very promising build-up, and Hearts do look sharp around the box, Billy.
Yes, I think if they can get just a little bit of grip of midfield, Jock, those front 3 players there, Sandy Clark does a magnificent job for them, and the 2 other lads feed off him so well and so intelligently. I would think if they can get a fair bit of service in towards Sandy Clark and these 2 front colleagues, then I would think that they could cause all sorts of problems for Aberdeen defence. Certainly at the moment, they're showing signs of settling an awful lot better than they were earlier on. And as I say, if the service is good enough, they'll cause problems.
Yes, 3 players who've found the net 48 times among them this season. They're certainly a potent factor in the Hearts' success this season. So 20 minutes of the first half gone, Hearts 0, Aberdeen 0. And an intriguing contest developing. There's Whittaker. The header from McLeish, and Sandy Clark is penalised for using an elbow. A look of disbelief in the face of Clark. Part of the striker's armoury, I think, to look innocent in all occasions. Now Willie Miller. There's McLeish. Looking for movement ahead. Joe Miller provided it just a shade too late, perhaps. McMaster doing well with the high ball, but it falls for Jordan. McMaster again. And that goes straight through to Henry Smith. McQueen doing well to keep the ball in play. McLeish's clearance. Black looking for help on the outside, but Jim Bett did well with a tackle. Here's Miller now with a chance to run in on Henry Smith. A chance for Aberdeen. A good finish from Miller. Had to take it quickly, and that could so easily have given Aberdeen the lead. Well, it's credit here to Jim Bett in midfield, winning that ball in the centre circle. A fine pass, releasing Miller, showing total conviction going forward. A driven ball just wide of the post. Well, Joe Miller's had 2 fine attempts on goal. Still hasn't made it for Aberdeen. He's scored 4 times this season. Now with Hewitt for Aberdeen. There was a late challenge by Craig Levein. It's been picked up by the lingering eye of referee Valentine. Hewitt has taken an ankle knock, and Levein goes back, having been penalised. We'll see why here. There was Hewitt now playing the ball away, and Levein coming in late, catching him. You see the damage there to John Hewitt. Good refereeing.
Yeah, I think the referee has been very good to date, Joe. Interesting aspect about it, Aberdeen looked that little bit sharper movement than Hearts, particularly at the back there. Hearts are getting themselves involved in all sorts of bother. Aberdeen's got a couple of good quick running forwards, and at the moment they're getting plenty of opportunity and plenty of space to prove their ability. I still think the occasion just got to Hearts just a little bit, and they've obviously got to pull themselves out of that.
But they have in the past sustained a lot of pressure from good teams in opposition, notably against Dundee United at Tannadice, when they came back to a 3-0 victory after being under the collar for a substantial period in the match. Here's Joe Miller again. Berry picks it up. Bett putting him under pressure instantly. Robertson. Cowan plays it back. There's Cowie. The target is Sandy Clark once again. And McKimmie in good position to play it back to Brian Gunn. Mitchell's header. Robbed there by John Robertson. And Bett again getting back. Showing a lot of appetite for the play, Jim Bett. Both in defence and attack. Black with a cross. Looking for Sandy Clark. McLeish the winner again. Now Mackay. Running into Mitchell, and the referee waving for the corner kick, despite the howls for a penalty kick. And that was typical play from Gary Mackay, surging into the box, committing defenders. I don't think there was any real question of a penalty kick being awarded. But Hearts have the corner, and John Cahoon waits for Craig Levein to arrive in the box. Near post ball for Levein, he got his head to it. There's McLeish. Berry with McKimmie. Came off the Hearts player, so that'll be an Aberdeen throw. McQueen to McLeish. Confident player of defence by Aberdeen. Peter Weir, robbed by Berry. Powerful player in midfield, Neil Berry, showing his value to Hearts once again. And the ball was out before it was played forward by John Hewitt. George Cowie waved back by the referee. McKimmie's header. Here's Miller looking for support now on the right. No one there, so he had to retain possession himself. what a superb prospect Miller looks up front for Aberdeen.
That's a very interesting facet, Jock, you know, because young Joe Miller looks an outstanding prospect, and if you look up front in Hearts, they've got a tremendous player, a player with tremendous potential like young John Robertson there. It's great for the Scottish game, and it's lovely to see.
The interception there, a vital one by Willie Miller. McMaster calming things down in his normal fashion, playing it back to McLeish. Levine's header finds Whittaker. Certainly not a lot of value in high balls forward from Aberdeen today, with Eric Black not playing and Hewitt and Miller certainly not tall players, but there's Joe Miller, who's very accomplished on the deck. Well, in fairness, young Joe Miller's also scored 1 or 2 fine headers for Aberdeen. Here's Mitchell. An acrobatic effort from Joe Miller, but well off target on that occasion. Just 18 years old. Joe Miller, a key man in the Scottish youth team last season. John McMaster settling into that midfield role for Aberdeen. Fine player, very composed, 31 years old, missed so much of a very promising career through injury. So we're now approaching the half-hour mark. Still no scoring here at Tynecastle, despite some very good attempts on goal, particularly in fairness from Aberdeen, who've had 3 good goal attempts without success. Sandy Clark having the best effort for Hearts. McMaster again, very calm. The header to McKimmie. It's a difficult one for Miller to handle. Peter Weir appeared to be bumped from the back by Cahoon. The referee waving play on. Cowie has carried the ball over for the throw. But perhaps Aberdeen being a shade over elaborate in defence.
Just a bit casual there, Jock. Almost get caught out. But you know, I think Hearts have got to push just a little bit harder. They've got to start getting to the game, getting to the pace of it. I think obviously Aberdeen will settle for a nice tidy game here today, and with their ability and the good passing skills that they have in the team, they'll take a lot of this thing out of the game. Hearts have got to try and move up the action just a little bit.
Clark playing it wide again, finding Cahoon. McQueen did well to block the cross. Corner kick's been given. Tommy McQueen goes back. And there's almost a telepathic understanding up front among these front 3. Cahoon, Clark and Robertson. So another opportunity for Hearts. Crowded near post as Black flights it into that area. Gunn comes out, and a bit of elbowing by Craig Levine is picked up by referee Valentine. Peter Weir. McKimmie went ahead of him, but Cowie wouldn't give Weir enough space to make the pass accurately. And Hearts now have the throw. Tommy McQueen's clearance. Clark trying to turn away from Marek McLeish, but Clark had carried the ball over as he turned. It's an Aberdeen throw. Cowie's header, there's Robertson, now Mackay, couldn't control it. McQueen doing well, winning the high ball from Cahoon. No room at all over there for Peter Weir, getting past one man, but finding the cover there for Hearts. Weir shielding the ball from Cowie, and the free kick is given against the Hearts fullback. John Cahoon not allowing the free kick to be taken quickly by Aberdeen. Master leaving it to McQueen. Willie Miller takes it. Joe Miller coming off his marker. That's a good turn. Still Joe Miller. Oh, what an eye for goal he has, showing a lot of confidence, this young man. Willing to turn, take on defenders and have strikes at goal.
I think it's lovely to see that, Jock. You know, the front players are the things that we miss in the game, and good front players. This little kid looks terrific. He's prepared to go at defenders, he's prepared to turn them, and he's prepared to have a shot or two. It's lovely to see.
McKimmie was up well, it breaks though for Black. McLeish again with a header, but here's John Cahoon for Hearts. Robertson. You see how quickly he turned in the box, and the Aberdeen defenders closing in on him very rapidly indeed. Mark of great respect for the little Hearts striker. But the Aberdeen defence, with these two international stalwarts marshalling them, standing up to the test so far. Brian Mitchell too has had a good match for Aberdeen. Now being put under pressure and doing well. That's good play indeed from Brian Mitchell. Very composed. Now McLeish, seeing the gap to come forward. Good tackle by Levine on Miller. And running again from Gary Mackay, testing the Aberdeen defence. Still Gary Mackay going all the way himself. And McMaster did well to get back as Robbie Miller stalled the progress of Gary Mackay. So some fine attacking and some top-class defending.
Good enterprising run by Gary Mackay there, Jock, but what a good piece of defending by Willie Miller. Showed his experience, showed his calmness inside the box, refused to be drawn out of position. At the end of the day, was in excellent shape to block an attempted shot. But what a lovely run from Gary Mackay.
Joe Miller. Two number 9s together, the more powerful wins the ball, Sandy Clark. And now Mackay. Cowie off on a run on the far side, couldn't catch it. Well, a feature of George Cowie's play is his willingness to make these long runs from defensive positions to support the attack. And a very valuable servant to Hearts. McQueen's clearance helped on by McLeish. Oh, that's superb control initially from Kenny Black, but Bett was in the way with the tackle. Now it's with McMaster. Again, the accurate pass, finding McKimmie. Weir. McQueen making a fine run on the left flank. Well, that needed one accurate cross. It wasn't provided, and Jordan has all the time in the world to clear it up. McMaster winning it for Peter Weir. Tempting Cowie to the challenge. Well, but when the ex-West Ham United fullback made up his mind, he timed it perfectly. And the deflection from Weir gives Hearts the throw. Sandy Clark back battling for possession, but it's Aberdeen still trying to get forward. Weir and Cowie together again. So 10 minutes of the first half left. Still Hearts 0, Aberdeen 0. And the match very evenly poised at the moment. Aberdeen having initiative early on. Hearts now trying to battle their way back into contention. Good pass from Robertson and Sandy Clark. And beaten by McKimmie. Clark wanted a free kick, the referee on the spot. Wait play on, and here's Hewitt for Aberdeen. Now McMaster. And Ryan Mitchell fancied his chances from long range. He hasn't scored this season for Aberdeen. So a goal kick to Hearts. Well, it's Jim Bett, who's been playing on the right side of midfield for Aberdeen. There's his record. But it's his enterprise and energy this afternoon which has taken my eye, Billy. He looks as though he's interested in the match all right.
Well, I think the the one definite fact about the game so far, Jock, is that the Aberdeen midfield players have got a good grip in the game. Jim Betts worked his share well. John McMaster set up some lovely moves with his good passing, and McKimmy's shown an awful lot of enterprise and skill as well. And at the moment, really, Hearts haven't captured that area of the field at all.
So hurled around the stadium as John Cahoon takes a face knock in the challenge with McKimmy. The referee saw nothing amiss, so Aberdeen still come forward with Cahoon on the deck. So John Cahoon still on the ground. Alec MacDonald was incensed that the referee didn't stop play coming out of the dugout, and Cahoon has taken that knock around the area of the left eye. But if we see this again, I think you'll see that there was no malice in the part of Stuart McKimmy. The ball bouncing at that awkward height. He went to play it, Cahoon went to hit it, and the collision finds Cahoon taking it off. But I don't think there was a great deal in that. Stuart McKimmy was the Aberdeen player involved, but not a lot in that, Billy.
No, I think it's one of these things that happened in the game. It probably looked an awful lot nastier than it was in actual fact, Jock. But again, you know, Aberdeen to me have got an authority and have got great possession in midfield that Hearts have not quite captured yet. Certainly any time they've got the ball at Aberdeen's back four, they've created problems, but they haven't done it often enough for their own good, I wouldn't think.
Cowie's header, helped on by Cahoon, and this time the Hearts number 7 gets a free kick. The challenge by Tommy McQueen into his back. So McQueen acknowledges the free kick as the referee has a long-range word with him. Sandy Jordan with a free kick. Again seeking out the head of Sandy Clark. Clark leaping early. And the referee penalises the Hearts striker once again. It was between McKimmy in front and McLeish behind.
Silly foul really, Jock, because you know you want that ball in the box, and they helped Aberdeen to clear that. You know, I'm not saying there was any great danger there at that particular time, but it was a silly foul to give away just at that moment.
Bett and Black together again. Ball broke very awkwardly for Brian Whittaker. He did well to get his head to the ball at all. Mitchell to Miller. McMaster. Kenny Black's header. It went behind. Henry Smith couldn't prevent the corner kick. So a corner to Aberdeen. Little word between Smith and Black. And Peter Weir coming across to take the corner. So Peter Weir with Willie Miller waiting in the box. Taking it left-footed to swing it in. Headed away by Berry. McQueen. Intelligent ball wide, helped on by McLeish to Weir. Alec McLeish now popping up in the overlap. Good out-swinging cross, and Berry was there for Hearts. Sandy Clark back defending, McMaster. And Gary Mackay did a vital job there for Hearts, blocking the shot from John McMaster. He was very accurate and very powerful on that left foot. So another corner kick to Aberdeen. So Alec McLeish making a very important contribution to that Aberdeen attack, popping up on the right flank. Still with the attack, marked this time by Sandy Clark, and a reversal of roles. Weir shows his two-footedness with the in-swinger with the right foot from the left. And Henry Smith stretches himself. He appeared to be in trouble for a second. But his confidence, of course, on a high at the moment, playing so well for Hearts in the last few weeks in particular. Cahoon getting away from McQueen. A fine out swinging cross there, Sandy Clark. Now Black. Going inside Betts. Willie Miller's header. Still the pressure is on. Hearts trying to find a gap. Willie Miller again. McKimmy with the layoff to Mitchell. Well, that's great play out of defence by Aberdeen. Under the most severe pressure, keeping their heads and playing football out of trouble. And now on the counter-attack with Peter Weir. 3 men up in support. One of them is Tommy McQueen. Back now to Weir. And back it goes to Henry Smith from Kenny Black. Some splendid play, Billy.
It was lovely defensive play from Aberdeen, yes. That was lovely defensive play from Kenny Black as well, Joe. I'm not sure if man else could stand pass backs like that, to tell you the truth, but there he got away with it.
So the match now easing towards half-time. Vital phase in the match, of course. And the impression certainly growing that the first goal will be particularly crucial in this match. There's Mackay, now Robertson. That's for Sandy Clark. Appeals for foul. And the referee waves play on. And certainly Lucas O'Clark collided with the defender with no malice at all. We see this again. Played forward here by John Robertson. And Sandy Clark appeared to barge into Alec McLeish. So in turning away from McQueen. That's for Clark, another fine tackle by Willie Miller. And the second tackle was the one which brought about the free kick. Well, I think Miller did well at this time, but realised that Clark may get the rebound. We see this again, we see if that's how it happened. There it goes towards Sandy Clark, with Willie Miller making the first tackle, which blocked things, and then Miller again bringing down Clark. Now a golden opportunity for Hearts, right on half-time. And look at the size of that Aberdeen wall. So Brian Whittaker, number 3. Kenny Black is also there. 2 men with a lot of power in the left feet. 2 minutes to half-time. Whittaker may nudge it away from the wall for Kenny Black. The referee still not satisfied about the Aberdeen wall's positioning. And particularly John Hewitt causing him some concern. The referee Valentine is now satisfied. There's Kenny Black and the strikers Miller and Hewitt for Aberdeen doing the job. Charging down the shot. Robertson tried to release Sandy Clark going into the box. The pass went astray, so the pressure goes off Aberdeen for the moment. But Hearts making a big push now just towards the interval. Well, that's well played by Joe Miller. Sensed that his marker had left him. Bet back to Mitchell. And it's Joe Miller again making another of those very important runs to the flank. Mitchell's first time cross. Gets a second chance, this time using McMaster in midfield. Here's Joe Miller. Mitchell providing an option on the outside. Neil Berry's header. And a late challenge by John McMaster. Now being picked up by referee Valentine. So the Hearts player on the deck is Gary Mackay. We'll see how he came to that. The high ball, Mackay getting there first, and McMaster coming in a bit recklessly late. And indeed, as Mackay gets treatment, John McMaster is the first player in the match to be shown the yellow card. So booking for McMaster. Mackay has recovered. And we're now into time added on for stoppages in the first half. So a free kick taken by Whittaker. McLeish's header. And there goes the half-time whistle. Hearts 0, Aberdeen 0, but a very entertaining first half, with Joe Miller coming close on a couple of occasions for Aberdeen. Sandy Clark doing likewise at the other end for Hearts. Aberdeen perhaps having the edge in the first half, but still a tremendous second half in prospect. And when you rejoin us after the break, Arthur Montville will present highlights of the Milk Cup final at Wembley.